One of the fun things that the astronauts get to do on board the International Space Station is actually it gives them a great opportunity to interact with children and schools and people all around the globe. One such thing that they're doing is a little bit of story reading. Everyone loves a good story, and what makes it even better sometimes is when an astronaut gets to read it to you from the International Space Station. So Lori Meggs out at the Payload Operations Integration Center at NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama, was able to catch up with Jeffrey Bennett, who's an astrophysicist who's written several children's fiction books about Max the dog's adventures on the space station, the moon, and also Mars. NASA astronaut Colonel Alvin Drew read Bennett's book, Max Goes to the Moon, back when he was on the space station, which ended up becoming a pretty big hit. That recording and others will be made available to the public as part of a program to continuously encourage students to study science, technology, math, and engineering.
So tell us about how you got into writing. From an astrophysicist to writing children's books, that's quite a jump there.
Well, I first got into writing college textbooks, so that's actually my main line of
Wow.
work is writing college textbooks.
Okay.
And then I eventually found a little tiny bit of spare time, and I had always wanted to write children's books because I used to teach elementary school as well. And so finally was able to start doing it about 10 years ago. I did my first one, Max Goes to the Moon.
Well, what's it about?
Well, so Max is my dog. He is a Rottweiler, and in Max Goes to the Moon, they take people back to the moon for the first time since the Apollo era and inspire people enough to decide to build a colony on the moon where people can look back at Earth and see how your perspective changes when you look back at Earth from space.
We called the author up, got Jeff Bennett, and said, thinking about reading your story from space, is it possible, would you be upset if we took one of your books and, and scanned it in and made a PDF of it because I can't fly the physical book? And he goes, how about I just send you the file? We were just hoping he would just say yes, okay, and he was very helpful with it. And so we felt like, we'll show you the tape. So here's me reading from the flight deck of the Space Shuttle Discovery, and he goes, you mind if I put this out on YouTube? And he did, and it was very, very successful and very popular. Hi, I'm astronaut Alvin Drew aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery. I'd like to read you a bedtime story. This one is called Max Goes to the Moon by Jeffrey Bennett, illustrated by Alan Okamoto.
A really cool moment for you, though, was when an astronaut read your book from space, right?
That was a pretty incredible moment when I got the phone call from Patricia Tribe saying that Alvin Drew would like to read one of my books from space. I didn't believe it was a real phone call, and once I finally accepted that it was, I sent them the PDF in that case, and astronaut Drew read the book from the final mission of the Space Shuttle Discovery, and that's posted up on YouTube.
The good thing about the book is it's not just a children's book. I mean, the basic story itself is meant so that children 2, 3, or 4 years old can enjoy the story and see the great pictures. But on the side there are these things called Big Kid Science, where they go into all the actual physics and things like that. So if you're like me, when I used to have my favorite kids books I grew up with, but you're 12 or 13, you don't want to pull those books back off the shelf because even though you might still like the pictures and everything else. So now you've got an excuse to pull the book off the shelf and go, I'm reading up on the science here, Ma. That's why I've got the book back off. So even now it's got good science in it, and I like pulling it down off the shelf and pretending that I'm getting science out of it too.
Hi, I'm NASA astronaut Mike Hopkins on board the International Space Station, and it's one of my favorite times. It's story time from space.
Hi, I am JAXA astronaut Koichi Wakata. Welcome to Story Time from Space.
Well, after astronaut Drew read Max Goes to the Moon from the Discovery, that was sort of a pilot project, and Patricia Tribe went out with the demo tape and polled a lot of teachers and looked into it, and people were really excited about the idea, and then CASIS got excited about the idea as well, and they decided they would take all 5 of my children's books up to the station to be read from the cupola up there. So it's the 4 Max books and a 5th one I have called The Wizard Who Saved the World, which also has a little bit of space in it.
Thank you for listening, The Wizard Who Saved the World. Watch for the next book reading here on Story Time from Space.